There are 14 UK overseas territories, scattered across 4 of the world's oceans and stretching from the ice of Antarctica to shallow tropical seas. Some are near pristine wilderness, while others support vibrant communities whose livelihoods and cultural identities are inextricably linked to the oceans that surround them.
What's special about Tristan and Cunha is just the remoteness of the island, the pristine of the islands. I think Tristan's my home, it's great.
There's so much that's special about the UK overseas territories. They've got 1/4 of the world's penguins, 1/3 of the world's albatross, the largest coral atoll on Earth.
Creates an enormous habitat, an attractive habitat for birds, for whales, for marine life, and that makes it a near pristine environment, which is just fantastic for scientists to study. It's brilliant for visitors to experience.
It's known as the most remote inhabited island in the world, so that's pretty unique. It's an incredible place for biodiversity, albatross, penguins, seals, and so it's a hot spot for wildlife.
Over 750 recorded species, 50 of those are specific to St Helena.
Well, apart from being a coral reef-based territory, a small island in the Caribbean, I think we've had marine protected areas since 1986, so we've been at this for quite some time, and I think we've had a lot of success with those parks.
So I think what's great about Ascension Islands is we've got so many predators that have been fished out in other areas, so it really is a unique environment.
These remote places are like windows into the past. They give us an idea of what ecosystems looked like before humans came there, so they really tell us how our management strategies are doing elsewhere where there are people.
The Blue Belt programme is an ambitious UK government-led initiative which aims to provide long-term protection and sustainable management of more than 4 million square kilometres of ocean across the UK and the UK overseas territories. Working in collaboration with territory governments and international partners, the programme has established some of the world's largest marine protected areas across the Atlantic, Pacific, Indian and Southern Oceans.
Large MPAs are important because we've essentially emptied the ocean of fish, and the most effective way to recover those populations is by protecting them in large MPAs.
Large-scale marine protected areas are important because they encompass the entire ecosystem. They let the ecosystem function without us really having to understand the system or manage it or micromanage it. It allows all the elements to interact with each other.
The most important thing we can do is stabilize the ocean. Science tells us that really when we take care or we allow the oceans to function the way that they are meant to do, meaning we reduce pressures, they're as stable as they can be and they can recover. So what can we do to basically protect the planet? And for people and for nature is protect as much as you can, as fast as you can.
We're gathered here at the University of Exeter's Cornwall Campus for the first ever UK Overseas Territories Blue Belt Symposium. The symposium's been an opportunity to celebrate successes so far in the Blue Belt programme, of which there have been many, to discuss shared challenges, to learn from best practice developed not only in the UK Overseas Territories but from across the world, and to strengthen the network across the UKOT family to build partnerships, strengthen collaborations and hopefully provide the support network to sustain these amazing and often pristine marine environments well into the future.
So I think one important thing to say is that it's not just for one organisation to do this work, so the importance of partnerships and collaborations, working with local communities as well. But we're doing a range of things through the Blue Belt programme. For example, helping to build an understanding of the marine environments and what's out there through big surveys and things like that. Making sure that there's the policy and legislation in place to underpin designations, but then as well looking at a range of different tools like satellite surveillance and new technologies to be able to actually ensure compliance and enforce these areas so you don't end up with paper parks.
Probably the biggest challenge for MPAs is the lack of funding to support their management, their enforcement, to encourage compliance, education. And when you think about a country like Australia, where $125 billion from our blue economy, we really need to be investing some of that back into the oceans that support our economies.
So the challenges of MPAs, particularly in relation to the UK overseas territories, is that you often have these tiny specks of land and they're surrounded by really vast areas of water. And then you add to that as well that, we know that they're pristine environments often, but we don't have that evidence or the thorough understanding of the science. And often There's a lack of either resources or capability on the islands to be able to designate and enforce the waters themselves.
Collectively, the UK Overseas Territories preside over the 5th largest marine estate on the planet. This poses great challenges for management, however. But if we get it right, we will have made a hugely significant contribution to achieving global ocean conservation and sustainable development goals. We will have ensured that these blue jewels in the crown of UK biodiversity can continue to flourish and enchant us.